It's just like the salmon that, they migrate back up the river. Everybody got fired today and they're going back to oil country.
That's it.
Oh, we get a lot of shots. Everybody come to their net. We just have to get more and more pucks to the net.
We used to talk about in Vancouver getting pucks on net and
pucks on net.
Well, that's the key. We got to get the puck on net.
What were you saying about putting pucks on net?
Continue to put pucks on net and
it's just getting pucks on net.
Pucks on net and driving and making it a hard night on them.
Live on tape from Gita's apartment, her palatial estate on the 23rd floor. This is Pucks on Net, a Vancouver hockey podcast. Doesn't talk about fantasy or fancy stats. Got a whole bench here. Unlike most of the Western Conference and the National Hockey League, nobody's been fired from the show today. We're all
trying. I'm working on it.
Knock on wood.
Let's go. We didn't introduce ourselves last time, so I'll do it. Ryan, the Glue Shap, with you.
I think I'm supposed to be the bad guy.
Dave the heel McPhail.
I'm okay
we don't
with
need
that.
nicknames.
You
keep trying to fit them in.
It's not a nickname. It's a persona.
Says you, Mr. I've had a nickname since day one, and it's the best nickname ever.
Oh, whatever.
Dave came up with it.
You're supposed to be the lovable one. I'm the one that doesn't like it.
I'm PMAC.
Everything sucks.
That's my thing. I don't want to be here.
He's like Krusty the Clown when he becomes a straight edge comic. Remember, he's like, I got a lot of beefs.
Don't you hate pants?
Pants are the worst.
Thanks for joining us wherever you got us from. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, pucksnet.ca.
We didn't introduce Gita.
Gita's here too.
Oh, now you want introductions.
Just me.
We have a gigantic ass day of news and firings.
It's time to get to it.
Thanks for joining us wherever you got us from. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, pucksnet.ca or pucksnet.ca. And if you want to support the show, make sure you head on over to patreon.com/pucksonnet. Got a new backer today, or this week, Adam Boss out of Victoria. He pledged $5, so he'll be able to listen to 5 minutes for paying, which will happen after the show.
Somebody else donated money too, right?
Squampton hasn't. Squampton said he would donate $5, pledge money.
Now we're just going to bully him into
for the
it.
same price, for the $5 that Squampton's going to pay us, he could get
Maybe
Rinkboard advertising in Florida next year for like a whole season.
He could also get a latte from Starbucks.
Not small.
Yeah, not one of those fancy pour.
Just a tall.
You could also buy a house in Climax, Saskatchewan.
With a pool.
I think Willie's moving back, though.
All right, well.
A wheat pool?
It's just filled with wheat.
That's a good pun, though. I like that.
You're welcome.
So, Willie D got fired this morning. I woke up to some pretty good news.
You promised that wouldn't be the first firing today. Was it the first firing
of the day? It was the first.
Okay, we'll just go in chronological order.
The Kings in L.A., they did things leisurely in the afternoon.
They let them finish out the whole day. They get their 8 hours.
Punch out at the end.
It's a lot easier to fire someone at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So,
well, you got to give him the day to pack.
All of his, what is Darryl Sutter
he's got
packing?
his stuff, his stuff.
All that stuff,
like Jake Vertanen stuff.
You steal staplers from the Staples Center.
That's
what's
awesome.
What's it called? Staples Arena?
Staples Center.
Staples Center.
Well, now it's just called Staples Center because he took the other one.
Ouch.
All right, so, I don't know. I feel pretty good about it. Willie Desjardins was fired.
I never feel good about anybody losing their job. It's unfortunate. And over the last few years, I'm sure as PMAC, he's around the building. You get to know people on a personal level. And I wish, all kidding aside, not to go that way, but I wish Willie all the best. And I think that he'll be back in the league. He's a good man.
He's a good man.
He's a very good man. Nevertheless, this town, the climate right now around the hockey team, if they didn't make this move, that bay store window, broken.
Wow.
They had to do something.
That's true.
Isn't that usually a sign of victory when that happens, though?
Well, no, it's usually the sign
it
of
always follows a loss.
Crushing defeat. We had a massive victory last night for the Canucks, losing that game 5-2. Prevented disaster. If they had won that game, they could have dropped all the way to 8th.
Yeah.
Big clutch performance by the Canucks last night.
You might have remembered the year before Torts. The Canucks were, I think it was the Torts year when they drafted Vertanen.
Okay.
And they were going in like 28th or whatever in the league, and they decided to win some games, be a hero, and it blew up in everybody's face.
So, not this year. Not this year.
Those were real heroics.
Yes. It really looked like Alex Hedler was laying down.
Well, because they made it look like they tried,
penalties.
right?
Well, Trampkin was given a little push in the penalty box. I don't know if you saw that. It was like in a lane, get out.
Yeah.
Gave him a little shove.
Hey, she's sent many a Kenny Banya flying, I'll tell you.
Yeah,
Trampkin could do the same.
I believe it.
So we're not
Boom.
surprised about Willie. Is anybody surprised? Okay, let me rephrase. Would anybody have been shocked if he wasn't sacked and was back behind the bench in September?
No.
I wouldn't have been shocked. You talk about he's a good leader. He's a good not a good leader. He's a good teacher. He's teaching him proper two-way hockey, and he's the proper way to play the game, which is fine. But going into next year with a team that's going to be probably as bad as they were this year, if not worse, it wouldn't be the worst thing to have that sort of teacher mold the kids. That being said, the way he coached a team in games was questionable and didn't seem to make a lot of sense.
Well, that's exactly it.
So I mean, like if he could swallow his pride and be an assistant coach or an associate coach and work with them in practice, hey, that's great. But he's not gonna do that.
Is that how he's getting back into the league? Because I don't think he's getting handed another head coaching job.
Do you think the Stars want their old minor league man, their old Travis Green?
That's the rumor right now.
Is it Willie's going to Dallas?
That there is interest in Willie D in the Big D.
And Lindy's coming back here?
Oh, we're swapping?
Lindy, that would be funny if it happened again.
It worked out great last... Oh, no, it didn't.
But yeah, Benning and Lindy Ruff worked together for about 7 years, I want to say, in Buffalo, thereabouts.
Okay.
He was the head coach, and Benning was the head scout for most of that time. So there is a history. That doesn't mean that they got along or were best buds, but if there is a friendship there, and Lindy Ruff has a history of... At least with Buffalo, he had sort of 2 really good sections of time there where they didn't have a whole lot other than goaltending. Goaltending. So they had Dom Hasek.
Yeah.
Young Ryan Miller.
Towards the end of his career. and Ryan Miller.
Dave needs a lozenge.
But like I was even going over the roster, and like you had Miro Shatan, and then it dropped off drastically for offensive talent.
They had cool names.
They had
Maxim Affinity.
Yes, they had Satan.
They had
Stu
Mike
Barnes.
Pekka. They had Matthew Barnaby.
The population of Pominville was about 14 goals a season.
But I don't know if, and I'm trying to remember, like, I feel like there's something we maybe should be negative on Lindy Ruff for towards the end of his days there, but he had a couple runs there where he didn't have a whole lot, but he got a lot of guys to play above where they should have been, and there were a lot of, like, 30, 40-point guys, and it was all scoring by committee.
He's a respectable
And he
coach.
developed a lot of those guys like Derek Roy and Jason Pominville, who weren't like amazing players, but put up good numbers, and they'd still make the playoffs in Buffalo. So, I mean, and he's not, people think he's really old. He's in his mid to late 50s, but I mean, relative to Willie.
He's been around for a while.
He could still go for another like 8-9 years easy. Like, it's not like he's that close to the end of when you need to start thinking retirement.
But here's the thing about Lindy Ruff. Aside from his pedigree, and I'm not taking anything away from the guy, he Stanley Cup finalist, Olympic gold medal, assistant coach.
Yeah.
Could live in Buffalo for a really long time, which is a testament to anybody's character.
Amen.
Pat Kane doesn't.
There's a couple of things. The optics. He is an older guy. We got young kids on the team. New direction. And Justin Trudeau. Blah 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 blah.
We need a Justin Trudeau.
We don't need an
Is
old
that
man
what
river
they
behind the
need?
bench. So
because it's 2017.
There's that. There's also.
Is that not what they've tried with Willie, though?
No,
I don't know how old Willie is. He could just look
Willie was
old.
a veteran rookie. Let's call him that. Willie was like a 58-year-old rookie coach. We didn't really ask ourselves the tough question of why hasn't he gotten a
He's
job
like
in the
Sergei
NHL?
Makarov, but
Didn't
not a
get
Rookie of the Year
drafted.
candidate.
Yes. So there's also another issue, and that's even if we did win with Lindy Ruff, which would be great. And again, we talked about this last week, how we bitched and complained that the Canucks played a boring President's Trophy winning season. Man, were we stupid. Can we stomach defensive hockey in this market? We're goal-starved as hockey fans. And I'm including us as hockey fans in this. We like West Coast Express, fire wagon hockey. We're not going to get that with a guy like Lindy Ruff.
So we got to hire Mark Crawford.
I don't know about that movie
He came
either.
in the late 90s and turned things around-ish.
I wouldn't.
He did. He worked with a lot of these people. I don't know. They're talking
It was literally as bad as it could have gotten for us, like for Vancouver in the late 90s.
Did you see any of the hockey this year? Because it was pretty bad.
No, I didn't.
Well, let's see how the recycling goes in Montreal during the playoffs. And if
it-
Claude Julien has a pretty good run coming back to Montreal, maybe we give Craw another shot.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it was on the radio or something. People were talking about how, like, well, Crow benefited from Mike Keenan developing those youngsters because Marcus Naslund, and that was my thing. I'm like, when Mark Crawford came in, Marcus Naslund had nearly been traded by
Keenan
Mike
wanted
Keenan.
him gone.
I'm air quoting your developing.
Developing.
Beaten into submission.
Harry York
emotionally.
was getting a lot of ice time back then. I'll just say that.
So there are a lot of similarities between that team and this one.
Striking.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, but
Well,
yeah,
that's why we bring in a 40-something-year-old coach with fabulous hair named Travis Green.
Crow did good things with young Colorado Avalanche.
Colorado
Did some good things with the Canucks, and who's to say a couple things are a little bit different with that squad. Marcus Naslund isn't injured. Todd Bertuzzi doesn't sort of lose control one night. That could have been, if not a championship team, a team that gets to the conference finals a couple of times, or does something respectable.
They came within a game the year before against Minnesota.
Before we leave completely on Lindy Ruff, I was just gonna say, you talk about the lack of offense. Dallas still played a rather up-tempo style while he was there,
and that's the other
and
problem.
didn't do so well.
They had to,
but he wasn't able to play an up-tempo offensive game in Buffalo because he was working with like offensive talents like Derek Roy. Third in team scoring or whatever some years. And, Max Afinogenov is your big star, and he was flash in the pan, couple of decent years. Like, it's not like he had a lot to work with. So it's one of those guys where I'm like, is it him? Or is it that he never really had an offensive team? You kind of got to coach what you have.
I don't think Dallas was playing any kind of system. I think their system was partying.
6-5.
Well,
let's hope for 6-5.
I think Lindy had great X's and O's on that board,
Right.
and Sagan and Sharp and those
You don't
other
think the culture was what it needed to be?
that team. There's a lot of chatter around that team about them being. They really like playing in Dallas. Really like playing in Dallas.
Low profile.
Yeah.
Tyler does
everything's
Dallas.
bigger.
Doesn't have the same ring as Debbie. No.
Yeah, but probably just as active.
So
and no goaltending to speak of, so they had to kind of play fire wagon. Like
Right.
that's see, that thing about Lindy is like Lindy gets fired. There's been no talk about the Dallas getting rid of their GM. Like
There could be some more change up.
why didn't you guys go get Freddie Anderson to free agency last year?
because nobody wants the goalies they got unless they buy.
You just buy them out.
I don't know if they have buyouts left.
Another big name on the market right now, Darryl Sutter. Interesting.
Viking,
I don't know where he
Alberta.
winds up.
No, that would be not a good fit for Vancouver.
Now, I'm not necessarily saying he
You know
would
how
be the
much
guy.
Brandon Sutter we have on the power play now? We have even more Brandon
Jim
Sutter.
Benning loves him some Sutters, so you never say never. But I was thinking back to when there were those rumors that Trevor Linden was going to step aside for Mike Futa. I don't know how to say his name.
No, what?
Out of Los Angeles to be the new team president.
Oh.
I don't believe he was fired today.
Are you about to tell me that you think Trevor Linden might be the new coach
would
of
be
this hockey team?
No.
Worked for Wayne.
If
Well,
Trevor,
he runs a gym.
I don't know if there was any. I don't know.
They'll be in great shape.
I don't know if there was any truth to those rumors. Nothing ended up coming from that then. But if that's a step up for him, he would leave the Kings for that, potentially
Right.
as team president. Maybe then do you bring over a Darryl Sutter who's been working with that same staff?
He's got 2 Stanley Cups fairly recently. There's no reason for this to sit this poorly with me, but it just does. And I have no logical explanation
He's
for that.
very old school. I get the feeling he's an old school
But
coach.
he's a winner. I should be fine with this.
And you're anti-fancy stats to a certain extent,
This
are
is
you
my
not?
guy. But I
should
don't like
be.
it. And I don't know why.
Do you like Jerry Gallant?
Yeah, but he's still waiting for a cab.
He's waiting for the cab, and I heard Dale Talon's just going to bring him back now that he's got the room again.
That's another great thing that happened today. Tom Rowe is back as special advisor or whatever to the GM. Dale Talon is the GM again.
Yeah.
And now they're looking for a head coach. How amazing would it be? Is it Dale Talon's first order of business of getting everything back?
Reinstating Jerry Galgals.
He'll drive him from the airport to his house again.
Uber's very affordable in Florida.
I'm sure
Wouldn't
it
cost
is.
much.
That's like a woman taking back a cheating spouse. If Jerry Gallant went back to
Is it
Florida,
though with what happened with Talon and stuff, or
He'll
would it be just
change-
like the two of them just go back in a big like
I love
F
you.
you
Oh, yeah.
to the
It
organization?
would be like handing over a big, huge, giant diamond ring and saying, "Come back."
Oh, like Kobe.
yeah, it's exactly
getting
what I was
Kobe'd.
thinking.
Well, I think they should get a French-speaking coach in Florida because they're going to end up in Quebec anyway.
Ooh, but there are a lot of vacancies for coaching in the league.
There's a lot of names out there. Like Ken Hitchcock is floating around out there.
Will-
Said that he might
Willie-
do
He
one
doesn't
more
want to go
year.
out on a sour note. Yeah, but then
he wants back in the game.
the rumor is he would want to come back into a situation where he'd only be there for a year or two, and he'd probably be training his replacement. And that's a really
Travis Green,
Weird-
associate coach. Ken Hitchcock getting those. He's done good things with kids.
But do you
He's
want
scary.
do you want two cooks in the kitchen? Like, I feel like there's enough disorganization with this team right now.
No.
You need someone to come in who you know is going to be there for at least another 3 years to get their go. And I do think it'd be better to go with experience rather than a Travis Green rookie type of character.
You heard
with
it here first.
management.
Trevor Linden, the next head coach of the Vancouver Canucks, only on Pucks on Net.
And if you can't,
He's
Dave keeps
Stop.
saying that.
because this is where you fit in the airplane joke. What is the word?
We're reaccommodating.
We're reaccommodating Trevor Linden.
We're reaccommodating Tom Rowe back to special advisor for the Florida Panthers. It's not a demotion. We're reaccommodating you into this much smaller office.
and if you can't see that Trevor Linden's clearly going to be the next
Whoa. Are we allowed
head
to talk
coach
about...
of the Vancouver Canucks, you must need glasses.
Well, and Trevor supports a competitor of our sponsor.
So don't listen to what Trevor
So
Linden has.
clearly, don't listen to Trevor Linden.
When it comes to picking head coaches or glasses, I don't trust what he does.
You don't trust Trevor Linden, do you trust PMAC on the street?
You are probably one of the most trusted people I
I
know.
was wearing my glasses earlier, but they got wet in the rain and they were spotty, so I took them off. But they are wonderful glasses that help me to see better.
Where did you get them, Paul?
Hey, you know what? With all the options out there, why is it so many people, including local sports pros and PMAC on the street,
And ex-head coaches.
trust their eyes to image optometry?
Willie's getting the 80, 89,
Hey,
95 now.
hey, you know what? Because of these glasses, Willie could see this firing coming from a mile away. He knew it was coming, and it could have been the online prices with bricks and mortar service. It could be the direct billing, or it could be that they're the only ones to offer a doctor's eye exam and a complete select pair of glasses for just $89.95. And if you're out of work, that is a steal.
Is that why he challenged yesterday?
He needed his glasses.
He could see that a challenge was necessary. You might not have seen him put the glasses on, but they were there in his pocket. And he saw that play in unbeatable HD glorious. And you'll be sure to catch all those offsides that you need to call back and fist pump about in game 82 when your team's trying to get 29th place.
We got it.
Mission accomplished.
You can see that Drew Shore belongs out there after Goldobin scores a goal. I didn't get to complain about why I was happy that Willie's going out of town. Sorry, I'm getting this in there. I mean, what else would you expect from the most affordable eye care chain in BC other than a coach that can see those offsides? Image optometry, official eye doctor of the Canucks.
But not Willie Desjardins.
Not Willie Desjardins. Pucks on net, PMAC on the street. That is online at image.ca. Or imagine more for less.
Another piece of housekeeping. If you want to buy some pucks, email us. Let's sell you some pucks.
Great imaging done on those pucks, and if you put them on your mantle, you're across the room, you can see them.
In glorious HD.
Yep, there you go.
So Trevor Linden kind of alluded. We won't spend too much more time on this. There was some illusions in
It's an
there-
illusion, right?
Illusion.
in the presser that maybe Travis Green is the next head coach of the Canucks, and I'm just curious what your take is on that, Dave.
He knows the prospects.
Some of them.
He knows, he knows the organization. He's around during the prospects tournament. He coaches the team every year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with it. I do think it's risky to bring in a rookie.
But is it also risky for this organization to have more bad PR and have Travis Green go to another team
Dallas.
and be rookie of the or coach of the year.
The optics of that after spending so much time grooming this guy and developing him and to lose
holding
him to
on to
nothing.
him with
But this is a young team, and he's working with a young team
And
in
it's a-
Utica anyways.
And it's a good dressing room by all accounts. I don't think he's going to have any problems in there. He's got Jake Virtanen's respect. If you care deeply,
He's made Jake thin again.
yes, he did. And if you care deeply about Jake Virtanen's development and think that he's going to be a legitimate star, this would be an action that could point to that the Canucks are taking his development seriously. Certainly, a guy like Travis Green would be a nice security blanket up in Vancouver, and was somebody that will watch him like a hawk, including keeping him out of that new pie place by Gita's house.
Oh, there's a new pie place.
No, there is a new pie
Wait,
place.
where?
on
Alamode,
Hamilton
I
Street.
think it's called.
Yes, and
Hasn't it been there for a while?
But
Or
it's
is it-
newish. But it's
expensive.
fabulous. Oh yeah,
Can we
company
go
cards
there
get-
after the pod?
Absolutely. Tell him Jake Virtanen sent you.
Really? All right. I'm right in. No need for a line.
Although now it's like Seinfeld. I heard they're non-fat. Yeah, it's non-fat.
I don't hate the idea of Travis Green, but at the same time, I don't think he's going to be like AV. We were talking about this a little earlier, Ryan and I, where like, I don't know. I just like how many of these guys, he hasn't really worked with Brock Besser that closely. He hasn't worked with Sven
No
Baertschi
one's
that
worked with
closely.
Besser, though.
Hasn't worked with Bo Horvat that closely. Like, I don't think he's going to be a bad coach, but if you're selling it as like an AV style, like he knew Kessler and Bieksa and Burrows and
Hansen.
So who would he know? Okay, Jake. Subban,
Little
who's
Markstrom.
still sort of up in the air.
A little bit of
A little
Stetcher.
bit of time with Markstrom. Not really.
Well, I
Stetcher
mean,
made
you've
the
got
team
time
right
to
away.
bring him in and let him have at him.
It's not that. I mean, like, what if he's a good enough coach? Like, what's the harm in
Well, that's the thing. If
giving
you're
him
saying,
the reins?
Just don't put Michael Chaput with the Twins, and you're already doing better than the last guy.
Just
Magna.
No.
You know what? You're right, because I'm worried that Travis Green is going to come in and he's not going to know the systems that and know the team.
But
and
here's
he's not going to play. He's not going to play Megna 25 minutes a game.
The,
He's not
would he
gonna
know to
the
do that?
counter to that is no one knew the systems last season,
Yeah, that's true.
Clearly, that's true. And also, don't forget
including
this about,
the coach.
about rookie coaches.
Let's do it.
Every NHL head coach had a first game in the NHL.
I want to do a quick little segue. Gita's got her wireless mic over by the stove, and I'm just curious if you could tell the listeners what you're making.
French fries.
Oh.
Anyway, all I was trying to say.
Mondays are really hard to make dinner.
I thought you were braising some sort of fish or a nice chicken or...
She's glazing a ham.
No, I'm having French fries and grilled cheese because you guys are doing a 7:00 podcast.
Well,
I know. I ordered a no-tea meal, and really, I'm going back to the office just to pick up the food and go home.
Because of our listeners, this is why we
just
do
kidding.
Noodle Box on Mondays.
That's true, yes.
I won't eat noodle box. It's poison.
Oh, I had a great meal. tonight. I had the buttered chicken that Paul had last week. It was fantastic.
There's a place.
It doesn't get any whiter than this.
That is.
Butter chicken from Noodle Box.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's an actual Indian place just down the road called Rice and Spice that does a great butter chicken.
It sounds very authentic.
They've got a good buttered chicken at Alamode, too. But,
It's butter chicken pie, butter chicken pot pie. Tell them
The
Jake
white
sent
spot
you.
one? Oh, anyway, but yeah, if you're going to
That
hire...
is the whitest thing I've ever heard. I had a great butter chicken at Noodle Box. Did
I
you
had
have
it one
Did
time,
you have
it was
a
good.
Pellegrino Lemonada as well?
yeah.
It was good.
Paul, what were you saying about Travis Green?
If you're gonna hire him on coaching quality, on his skills, go for it. But I wouldn't sell it as like he knows the prospects, because I feel like he knows a couple of them.
He knows how to cheat to win. He coached in Portland for all those years.
No, he was the coach that didn't get to cheat when Mike Johnson was suspended.
And ruined it for everybody.
And like they went to the WHL championships like 4 years in a row, and the only year they won was the year Travis Green was coaching. He also played in the NHL
For like a long time.
He's a
Right.
hockey player, and Willie
Here's the thing.
wasn't.
You bring in anyone else, they don't know this team at all.
Probably a good thing.
So
Just play the Twins with some skill players. We saw that in garbage time at the end of the year. Oh, look, they picked it back up when they put anybody that can actually go skate. Here's the thing. It's like, oh, you can't put him with fast players.
You
Yes,
have
can.
to.
Yannick Hansen worked really well with them
Yeah.
because he was fast.
Burrows is actually a very fast, good player on the rush.
And also, you need to know where it's about knowing where to go. There's a thing about goal scorers where they know how to find empty space. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's an actual skill.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Brock Besser's been doing all 8-9 games,
Yeah,
whatever, and he looked pretty good.
Side of the net on the off wing. Jeez, look at that. He could score from there.
On that power play, right-hand shot, I was wondering why they didn't give that more of a go at even strength, because the Horvat-Besser connection kind of looked a little clunkier as time went on without Berchi.
On the subject of Travis Green, I don't think they're marketing or saying a selling point of his is that he knows the system or the players.
Right.
I think it's just this is a good coach, a smart coach, and he's doing a good job.
I just repeatedly hear from a lot of people that he knows the guys, and I'm like,
a lot of people are idiots, Paul.
He doesn't know Dolan. He knows
the monorail system in Utica like the back of his hand. He can get you from Utica to North Haverbrook, no problem.
Well, then isn't that
Can Darryl Sutter do that? I don't think so.
Is that an argument to keep him in Utica then,
Trains
David?
in the
He'll
sky.
master that Expo
When I started
Evergreen
doing
line.
this podcast, I didn't know Dave. But look at how that turned out.
Look at that. See? You picked those up in 4 years.
Like I said, I don't mind if it's Travis Green. I think maybe a more experienced guy, because the management still isn't very experienced. Might be safer.
Yeah, but here's the other thing is the coach that all Canuck fans seems to love and wish they had again was AV, which was a guy that was in the system and brought up and molded down there, and kind of like Travis Green. And then they brought in John Tortorella, and that didn't work. And
That was a premature breakup.
And it's just like, I think it'd be good PR, good optics for them to bring in somebody that's in the system that they've cultivated. And
AV also had head coaching experience before he came to Vancouver.
Yeah, I mean, a
it's
cup
like
of coffee
small
in
markets
Ottawa.
like Montreal.
Yeah, that too.
Speaking of which, teams that are actually playing real hockey.
Yes.
We got playoffs, kids. Playoffs? We don't know what that is here anymore.
No.
It's very 2011. It's right up there with Blackberries and
Jersey Shore.
Jersey Shore.
That
and,
is true, yeah.
And Torch and Cars.
What's your BBM code?
196832727262422.
Or is that your ICQ number?
Check it out.
All right, so we're half an hour in, so we'll do our playoff predictions. We'll go through the series.
Some of these seem like slam dunks, but a lot of them are freaking coin tosses in my mind.
Well, and a couple of things that happened in the last day of the regular season that prevented a couple of battle of select provinces that really kind of f***ed everything up.
Well, you can look at it glasses half full or glasses half empty. You might get more Canadian teams through to the second round.
That's true.
That's how I see it.
But
And then
you're
they'll
also-
inevitably have to play each other
But
then.
you're missing out on some serious blood feuds.
But you know what? The second round is usually when interest starts to wane. And if you get your geographic matchups in the second round.
It adds a little buzz, a little cachet.
Well, and plus, I mean, if
or they all lose.
Well, that too.
I mean, whoever
Every last one of them.
like I think Calgary and Anaheim will beat the shit out of each other, and St. Louis and Minnesota will really rough each other up, so it's kind of an advantage to those other teams that are playing in the second
Could you
round.
think of a more bland series that you could care about less than St. Louis versus Minnesota?
Do they have to televise that? Can it just be on the radio?
It'll be
Webcast.
like on NBC at noon on Saturday. No one's really like watching it.
People love hockey in
But
Minnesota.
that's also the ideal time
They
for it to
do.
be on TV because you're just rolling out of bed and you're a little bit hungover and you're like, I'll
but
watch
then,
that.
but then it's Minnesota, St. Louis. You go,
But
oh,
you will
Jesus
watch it.
Christ.
Friend of the show, The Biscuit, and I came up with a great title for that series.
What's that?
The Box Factory Cup.
Wait, but doesn't Minnesota get the highest ratings?
Local,
yeah. So I mean, it'll be highly rated in some capacity,
Yeah.
but like on a national scale, I mean, that's something that is gonna.
Like
yeah.
what nation?
What do you mean?
The Haida Nation?
Like Canada, U.S.
Well,
like
let's-
one,
Let's stop. Okay, let's start with the the
Let's
East.
start at the top.
If you're
We going around the horn on these?
sure.
Okay, I like it.
If you like hockey,
or not.
if you don't like hockey,
You're lost.
I don't know what you're listening to. This is we're not trying to find Richard Simmons this far into the show.
Oh, that's been... I've been
listening. I just finished
Yeah.
it. We can talk about that.
Yeah.
Saturday night's game, Penguins, Toronto Maple Leafs, is one of the most exciting games I've seen in a long time.
We almost delayed the start of the Canuck game so we could finish watching it.
Well, usually...
Then we did like a bunch of buzzless team awards, so we finished watching it.
Hockey Night in Canada will push back the... That's a racket over there for fries. I might tell you.
Sorry, I'm hungry.
Penguins played Penguins with like Sidney Crosby, and then just the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins played the Toronto Maple Leafs in a just fantastic game. It makes me very excited for those 2 home games in Toronto. Paul?
Oh, it's just great to see the Maple Leafs bringing up their A game against the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins.
Yeah.
Curtis McElhaney got famous overnight.
Who would have thought?
What do you do?
Well, here's the thing. Tom Sestito.
Tostitos.
Was it Selke Trophy he's always up for, or Lester B. Pearson?
Lady Bing.
Lady Bing?
Lady Bing nominee year in, year out.
Lady Bing Tostitos. LB Tostitos.
As in he never gets any penalties ever.
And fresh off of his last suspension. The last time he played in the NHL was against Pittsburgh, where he boarded somebody, got suspended 4 games.
Yeah, he's working off a debt. He has to play for him now.
Yeah, and so he's back because the Pittsburgh is a little banged up and they're a little sore, so they're resting everybody. And he comes in to play like on the 3rd line.
Okay.
And he chicken wing accidentally on purpose to Freddie Anderson right in the head.
Was it a chicken wing or was it? I thought it was like
I thought it was more of a butt
thigh,
bump.
wasn't it?
Yeah, butt bump.
I don't know what. I don't know. I mean, in terms of the anatomy of the chicken or of pieces of KFC, it was, I don't know.
I would call it more of a
No,
Minaj.
drumstick is right here.
Like a Nicki. It was like more of like a Nicki Minaj type maneuver.
Well, he's a big guy. He's 6'5", and
hips
Anderson
don't lie.
was crouched down. So Anderson went down.
Yeah, and
And a
McElhaney.
folk hero was born.
Yeah, McElhaney played most of the game. He played the entire game against the Jackets the next day, and we don't know. I couldn't.
They're saying he's going to be good to go.
So we hope
the Dandy Dane, Freddie Anderson, who really he hasn't been awesome for them, but he's been something they haven't had in a long time, which is relatively consistent goaltending. Now that being said, his track record in the playoffs not good.
No, he's
really, really poopy.
Well, I can't remember if.
But on a team with no track record.
No, but he's playing for Anaheim all those years. He shit himself in the playoffs a couple times.
A lot. It happens a lot in Anaheim in the playoffs.
It does. John Gibson's been waiting his turn a long time to shit himself.
This
is his big chance.
Roberto Luongo tie-in.
Hello. Haha. So what do we think? We've been dancing around this. Like Ovi, he took his time scoring goals this year.
Well, as I said to Paul before this podcast started, I think Toronto takes it.
What?
Is
there magic in the air?
I think you guys are on mushrooms. Holy
I didn't
smokes.
say that. I did not say that.
I did, and I'll stand by it.
Oh, Gita, that's crazy talk.
I will put all my Easter eggs in that basket.
Ooh, I'll bet you.
Okay.
I'll bet you a giant chocolate Easter bunny that
solid.
No hollows. Nice.
How about some sort of NHL paraphernalia that's Easter chocolate?
One of those 10-pound
you get your
chocolate
own.
pucks.
You get your own bet.
All right,
You just
Polly.
stay over there and be quiet. Gita, we're betting a chocolate egg. I got the Capitals. She's got the Leafs. This is real high
Egg
stakes
or a
stuff.
bunny?
Bunny.
Bunny, yeah.
Solid bunny.
Bunny.
It's on the record.
So then Gita's going against the grain here. What's the games? How many? What's the prediction? And then we'll go to Dave next. 6.
Wow.
Dave?
5 for Washington.
I'm gonna go on the under. I'm gonna say 4. Big sweep blowout.
I could see it.
Polly?
Caps and 5.
But you didn't pick a team. You just said 4 games.
The Toronto Maple Leafs are gonna sweep the Capitals.
We don't know anything
I can't wait
yet.
till we replay that 3 weeks when they actually do it.
I'm a real big idiot. Next year.
I respect Gita's gutsiness there, but I don't see it happening.
It's a pretty big lock.
Especially with Anderson potentially down or playing groggy.
Pittsburgh Penguins versus Columbus Blue Jackets. The Penguins won the series 2-1 and 1. There are a couple question marks going in.
Chris Letang
is done 4 to 6 months. So, unless it's game 6 of the finals, replace him with Frank Corrado. They are banged up. Malkin is still some question marks.
He'll be ready for the playoffs. He'll be ready for the Olympics is what you're saying.
He's resting up for Korea.
And this is a tough one, and
very tough because the Columbus Jackets had a pretty good year.
And Columbus hates Pittsburgh, and if they could finally knock off Sid and the boys, they would love it. And this is a team that could do it. But based on what we saw in the playoffs last year, when that team becomes a fine-tuned, well-oiled machine of just perfect hockey, I will pick the Pittsburgh Penguins and I'll pick them in 6 games. Paul, we're going clockwise here.
Same thing. Penguins in 6.
Penguins in 6.
Columbus Blue Jackets in 7 games in overtime. And it's going to be classic Pittsburgh troll Scotty Hartnell trolling Crosby one more time.
I like that.
I think Crosby will do absolutely everything he can to win this, and he's going to make it incredibly difficult. But there's just too many question marks in Pittsburgh. They got a little Stanley Cup hangover. It's been a lot of hockey. I will not be surprised at all if I'm wrong, and if I am wrong, I think they get through Columbus. They go on a run. But there's something about this Torts team, and they really want it. That's what sells me on it. They want this bad. This is their Stanley Cup. This is their season if they can win this.
When they weren't the team they were a couple of years ago and they played Pittsburgh, it was they wanted to take out Sid, and they want to take these Penguins, and they want to be the team that sends the champs home packing.
I could see it. I think it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a next goal wins type situation.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of buzzless because we don't know anything about Columbus other than that's where family ties took place.
We got a listener in there. They're on the map.
Oh, way to go.
Yeah.
What's with the cannon? I don't like it.
I do like it.
I kind of like the
In
cannon.
this day and age with like big explosion sounds and sporting events, I
think Columbus,
it's retro.
What were we going to say, Paul?
I think Columbus,
pre-terrorism.
Yeah.
I think Columbus is still the youngest team in the league, and I think that's going to factor into a certain extent. They don't really have to win this year.
Have they been the youngest team in the
They
league
got to
since
be successful.
expansion?
They got the number 1 cop on the force, though, Paul.
And if he gets hurt, if Tom Sestito goes in there and decides to do what Tom Sestito knows
You're
how to
going to
do.
get as much playing time as Testitos does in the playoffs, Ryan.
Canadians versus the New York Rangers. Habs swept the season series 3-0. And the Rangers, except for that 1 year, have a very solid history of not being able to answer carry and get past them. This is a big series because Claude Julien, mid-season replacement, yada yada yada. AV's window, all your boyfriends on the blue shirts, Gita.
Yeah.
This is a big one for you.
AV's window has been shutting for a very long time.
Yeah, so
like literally every year.
One of the most emotionally invested teams in the
Rangers in 7.
Rangers in 7.
You skip PMAC.
We're still going clockwise, so Paul goes last.
Yeah.
He's mixing it up. We haven't been doing it the same order every time.
Yeah, Rangers in 6 games.
Really?
The Habs, they're not a small team, but they play small.
Yeah.
They picked up all those bodies at the deadline.
Yeah, but they're not
Depth
like the Oilers doofuses. Steve Ott is not a 25 goal scorer no matter who. You could play him with Wayne Gretzky in his prime. He's kind of a fucking moron. I'm sorry.
I heard Jamie is coming in and putting on Jordy's jersey for the playoffs, and no one's going to say anything.
Oh man,
He's already growing his goatee out. Yeah.
could you
One of the
imagine?
Bens was
Could you
traded.
imagine the scandal? Just when somebody goes, "Nice game, Jamie." Oh, thanks. Busted.
He wouldn't go down.
I just
with
don't.
it?
I
No,
don't.
got nothing.
I don't buy it. It's not their year. Carey Price. He'll keep it interesting.
Is it ever going to be Montreal?
The Habs beat the Rangers in every
they're
game in
not.
the regular season, though.
They're. I don't think that their captain has enough.
Well, he's the
leadership
worst.
to get them over the top. Shea Weber's hurt. He's going to come back and play injured. Everybody knows this.
Right.
Alexei Emelin's going to take a million stupid penalties.
If you didn't read it, it came out a little while ago. Sean Thornton went off on Emelin of just being this disrespectful piece of shit player. And Sean Thornton's like, I'm glad I'm getting out of the league when I am, because this is overtaking the league.
Yeah.
And I've done stupid things, but I took a beating like a man, and he doesn't do anything.
Sean Thornton's got a wonderful career ahead of him as an analyst. I actually could really see that. I think he'd be great on a panel. I hope he gets the job.
We'll get him on the show next week.
Love it.
Habs in 5.
Wow.
What are you basing that on, though?
Old man Henry in net.
Yeah.
Habs went 3-0 in the regular season.
Yeah, but he picked it up at the end of the year, though. Henrik looked pretty good the last few weeks.
What about you, P-Mac?
I'm going to say Habs, but in 7.
All right. Anybody stand out for you in that series that's going to do something?
In the Habs and Rangers?
Yeah, if they're going to go 7.
Other than Carey Price?
Gary.
No, I don't think the Habs are like an amazing team this year, but Carey Price is pretty great, and the Rangers are...
The price factor is a big thing, and that's what makes me question my pick, but I'm staying. I just don't believe in them. I just don't.
What's to believe in them? They're
Exactly.
heartless.
And their depth players are totally inept at putting offense up, like McCarron, Ott, Dwight King. Like, these guys suck. That's my fancy stat. They're not good at hockey.
We saw what happened last year.
I look at the Rangers depth guys, good at hockey. Hayes, Vesey, guys like that. That's where the matchup. I think they're pretty equal in top 6 and top 4 defense.
Yeah.
But it's the bottom 6.
It
just doesn't match up.
I have an interesting storyline I just remembered. Who are the coaches in this series?
Claude Julien and Alain Vigneault.
2011.
Yeah.
And who's got the team that has the ability to kind of goon it up a little? The Habs. It'd be kind of cool to see that kind of come back.
This is AV's revenge.
Yeah. AV's looking for blood, and he's gonna have to go through hell to get it.
Also, a lot of French trash talk because they're both French, so half the crowd will understand.
Onto the West, Chicago Blackhawks again are going to play the Nashville Predators, yearly thing.
Wait, you totally missed a series.
The Ottawa Senators are going to play the Boston Bruins in the Western Conference.
Oh, the Burroughs Cup.
Yeah, the Burroughs looking for revenge against more Habs. A lot of Ghosts of Christmas Past in 20.
Burroughs is going after Brad Marchand if he's not suspended.
He's going to bite the hand that feeds, baby.
New Jersey, same great taste.
Sens swept the season series 4-0. Predictions?
Ottawa gets by them in 6.
Okay, I'm going to say Bruins in 6. Paul?
I'm going to say Sens in 7.
Ottawa. 6 or 7. 6.5 overtime.
That's Jason Spetz's music we hear.
I don't think that Boston can handle that kind of speed up front. I think guys like Chera and other players on their team are going to be a step behind. I've gotten to know Ottawa a little bit over the last couple months after never paying attention to them my entire life. They can really skate, man. And Anderson's playing great hockey. That's a tough out. That's a very tough team. And Boston has been a bit wonky all season.
What if Craig Anderson has to leave the team?
Mike Condon has been pretty decent. I still think they could win.
All
and
right.
from all accounts, that's not going to happen. So,
well, the Bruins had to fight to get in, which is respect. You know, like you hit your stride at the right part of the season. But yeah, the Senators have been overachieving like all year. I feel like
they're
I did not
trending.
expect them to make the playoffs. Maybe because I don't watch them enough.
And I think that might have been because you look at their lineup: Mark Stone, Turris.
There's a lot of young guys.
Pajot had like 20 goals this year.
Yeah.
There's guys you forget about if you're, I don't know, if you're guilty like me of just like, okay, who are the guys that are like
we know they're
late
guys.
20s and 30s guys, but they've got some good youngsters.
But that's the
as
thing.
well.
Ottawa's always been that forgettable team.
I know.
But
They have
that-
Bobby
and that-
Ryan.
And
That should be their catchphrase. We're more than Carlson.
Yeah.
Because really, name another guy. You have to really say Carlson and the guy who Sid cut his finger off.
Melanot, something, I don't know, some sort of
Melanoma.
melon. Onto the West, the Blackhawks play the Predators. The Blackhawks won the season series 3-1. I've learned a valuable lesson over the last 7 years.
Don't bet against Chicago.
Don't bet against Chicago.
That's
And
last year.
yeah, well, hey,
Yeah, they had some rough patches.
they had some stuff to worry about. I'm gonna go Chicago 5 games. PMAC.
I say Chicago, but in 7. I think Nashville definitely picked up their play as the season went on. I think they have the potential to win the series, but I don't expect them to.
Okay, Gita,
Chicago 6.
Dave.
Chicago in 5.
All right.
Pekka Rinne's on the decline. He's not the same Pekka Rinne you all know and love. And
It's kind of like the Rangers Habs.
PK's a good player, but he's not exactly a shutdown guy. And that's a pretty tough lineup to shut down. And Chicago's super motivated after what happened last
They
year.
got good D in Nashville.
Because
Roman
it's-
Yossi's a good player for sure.
It's a win one, lose one, and they didn't win the Stanley Cup last year, so they'll probably win it this year.
Yeah, that's also my logic.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I wouldn't.
They're mad. They're pissed off, and that's not an animal you want to corner.
No, and are Taves and Kane now 30, or are we still waiting for that to happen?
They're 30 this year and next year.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Hossa hasn't been to the finals in almost a year. You know, he's dying to get back.
He used
Yeah.
to go every year, different jersey every year.
It's like LeBron. 6 straight NBA finals.
In the Box Factory Bowl or Box Factory Cup?
What, the Chicago series?
No, the
St. Louis.
Bowl. It's not a
Minnesota
cup.
St.
Oh, we're
Louis.
talking about Box Factory Cup?
Yeah, Box Factory Cup.
2017?
Uh,
Can both teams lose?
I'd feel real confident if Ryan Miller was involved in that
We've
series.
been playing for 6 days and no one has scored.
we both are going home.
We're both
So
packing it in.
PMAC, you're up. Who do you take in the Box Factory Cup?
I'm going to take the Wild in 7.
Any reason why?
I think they're pretty, equal teams. It's going to be a good matchup.
Instant analysis on pucks on net. We break it down for you.
Wild.
The Pucks Cup.
Sorry, when you talk about the Wild and the Blues together,
I know.
People are stoked.
Wake up!
Yeah.
I don't know. Minnesota's a good team, and I know St. Louis won the season series and probably did underachieve, but I think Minnesota's due to make some noise, at least as far as a first round victory. I don't expect them to do much else, but
Aren't they going off of the Prince or something like that? He's dead. They're going to win it for him or something like
Yes,
that.
because Prince was a very big hockey fan, I'm sure.
He's from Minnesota.
Are they wearing purple jerseys?
No.
Then
It's gonna rain down. It's gonna purple rain's gonna come down from the rafters when they win the
They're
cup.
in the dressing room.
He's
Let's
gonna
win
get-
this one for Prince.
let's go
Drenched in-
crazy. What's the
Let's Go-
Besser song?
They're using he's Let's Go Crazy.
Love it. Gita, what about you?
I'm going Minnesota in 5 just to end the agony.
Of St. Louis?
That series?
Oh,
I think it's gonna be Minnesota in a sweep. Jake Allen. That's why. That's my instant analysis. Jake Allen versus Doobie. Doobie's gonna win.
Jake Allen, who had to go home and relearn how to play a goal this year.
Yeah, they had to do it. Was like he had to get Cherokee Jack. It was just Creed Bratton pushing a broom around. You have to sweep the ice.
I'm hoping this. Yeah, I'm in Gita's camp. I hope this ends as fast as humanly possible, and I hope that I'm not stuck watching it one Saturday or Sunday hungover.
Oh, that'd be great hangover viewing. Actually, that series would be.
That's what was my argument.
It's
to
one
begin.
step away from being fucking baseball.
But remember, one of those two teams is moving on.
Zach Parise is one hell of a designated hitter, isn't he? Oh man, they should play at all outdoor games at Busch Stadium.
On to the Ducks and the Flames. Again, our Battle of Alberta hampered. Gita, you're first up. The Ducks won the season series 4-1.
Ducks
In
7.
Fair enough. Dave?
Ooh, too close to call.
Really?
Too close to call. Anaheim, they're a fine team. They're getting a little old. Mm-hmm. They might break down. Calgary, plucky, young, aggressive. If the goaltending holds up.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Calgary in 7.
I'm going to go Anaheim 6.
Okay.
And I'm basing that
These
on...
are tough, man. You could go either way.
It's
with
going to be
lot of
good,
these.
fun hockey to watch.
It's playoff hockey. It could always go
I just
anywhere.
remember 2 years ago, a very similar
Yeah.
Anaheim team played a very similar Calgary team, although a little more inexperienced and a little inexperienced on Calgary, a little younger on Anaheim. But Getzlaf and Perry looked like absolutely dominant shell players, and I think that if they play like that again, this will be over quick.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't, it's easy. You can shut down the Flames. Matty Tkachuk isn't going to do everything. And again, goaltending, if Brian Elliott decides to be Brian Elliott. So I'm going to say 6 for Anaheim. And Paul?
Ducks have some younger guys that are coming up in the ranks too. So I mean,
Ryan Kessler.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't the name that came to mind, but sure.
So,
there you go.
He's 22, if anybody asks.
That's so 2011.
Yeah, no, I'm still going to go with the Ducks, but I will say that'll go to 7.
Okay.
I think that'll be a good one.
Yeah, that's gonna be a violent series.
Yes.
I think there will be blood.
You'll see Kevin Bieksa fighting anybody not named Johnny Hockey. Oh, one thing that pissed me off, like the Canucks or the Flames played the Ducks in last week or whatever. They had 96 penalty minutes in the third period, and Michael Ferland went after Ryan Kessler because Ryan Kessler is being Ryan Kessler.
Yeah.
Wouldn't fight him, wouldn't go near him. And then who does Ryan Kessler pick a fight with? Sean Monahan.
Oh, come on, Kess.
And it's like he's like Sam Gagner. Like, oh, I'm not. It just pisses me off. Like, you got to fight. And,
Yeah,
And
well.
and finally, the dark horse that everybody's been watching in the West, the Edmonton Oilers against the San Jose Sharks. The Oilers won the season series 3-2. The question is, how much McDavid will McDavid against the old guys?
He's going to McDavid his balls off. Edmonton's going to win this series in 6 games. It's not going to be easy, but they're going to do it. I really believe in the Edmonton Oilers.
I'll take Edmonton 6 games. And I think that I couldn't tell you how the series is going to go, but yeah, I'd say 6 games. Paul?
I'm taking the Sharks in 7. I think they're really evenly matched teams, And I think the Sharks just have experience, and they got so close last year, and there's some kind of bond in that room, and they're going to want to win it for the guys like Thornton and Marleau. And I think they're very evenly matched teams. It'll be tight. It'll be 7 games. But I think the only difference between the two is just a little bit of experience and maybe a little bit of overall toughness. The Oilers are a good, tougher team now. They fixed that.
They got the big doofuses ready to go.
Yeah.
I
don't like calling them that, but I agree that they have bigger players this year.
I say Sharks in 6 for most of the reasons that Paul says.
An emotional attachment to the bearded
and
fellas.
the reasons as well. But also, are the Sharks not like the Rangers of the West? Just perpetually your window is closing, yet you're always there.
It is, but they've figured out how to bring guys in on the fly. They're the rebuild or retool on the fly that everybody's so envious of, because you have the old bastards of Marleau and Thornton, and then you have Logan Couture, and then you have Joe Pavelski, and then you somehow stumble upon Brent Burns and Hurdle, and then you get depth guys like Hansen and Ward, and it's like it's a better ecosystem in San Jose than it is in New York.
Even their depth guys, you don't hear a lot about them, but like Tyranny, I know he plays
Tierney.
well in Vancouver, but he's a solid guy, and he chips in once in a while.
Melker Karlsson's a good player.
Yeah.
I'm not taking anything away from San Jose. I think they're a fine hockey team. And again, I could be wrong about almost all of these. Through no fault of mine or anybody else's. This is tough.
It is a close first round.
The Oilers have that magic dust on them.
McDavid is what you're saying.
That's what McDavid,
Cocaine?
the best, yes. Yeah, no, that was the 80s. that did fuel a few no, that was just margarita salt rimmer on the Stanley Cup. That was a Coke. Fuck off.
Did some of the moms of those players call in and say, no, those boys were definitely just eating donuts after the game?
Powdered
sugar.
Oliver Grandfier's goalie pads. No, it's just the speed. It's just I don't know if the Sharks can handle the wheels, not only of McDavid, but Draisaitl is a horse. Lucic skates pretty well for a big guy. You got the Nuge, you got Eberle, you got it just goes on and on and on. Everybody on that team has got lightning quick wheels.
Sharks are a mobile team too, though.
They
Burns
are.
is, big man who can move up and down the ice.
Both teams,
he's a rover.
Intimidating for
Both
those kids.
teams have good goaltending. It's just I just think that Rogers Place is going to be very difficult to win in.
Yeah.
I'd say, McDavid is obviously the thing the Sharks don't have
in that series.
So it's McDavid versus experience, and I don't know if I'm ready to give it to McDavid, but I could easily see myself being wrong.
You could see him losing this series in a close one, but this being one of the lessons he learns in his.
Yeah.
Isn't it great watching him play hockey?
Oh man, Saturday night he was worth the price. Like Saturday night, nothing game. We're just playing out the string.
Yeah.
He only had the 1 point somehow. He was worth the price of admission. Like some of the things he can do in traffic, like in tight space.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And I'm not just. I'm saying that's how I feel. It's beautiful to watch.
The
crowd was popping for him all over the place too. Both sides loved it.
Crosby, the way he plays, there's a little,
two-way jam.
Two-way, but McDavid is it's like an artist. It's so
it's Guy Lafleur.
Yes,
he's beautiful.
So there's
beautiful. Joe Sakic even.
Those are our picks. I just have 2 questions from listeners, and then we'll wrap it up and go into 5 minutes. This is from our new Patreon backer, Adam Boss, out of Victoria. And he asks, how many goals do you think Besser will score next year? He's scoring at a pretty good clip right now, and it looks more like skill than luck.
Depends on who you ask of where he scores those goals. I'm still hearing that they're going to start him in Utica, which seems a little bit nuts. If he plays the full year in the NHL next year, I see him getting 20 goals.
Yeah.
I think it'll depend a lot on who they hire as a head coach and what they have going into the season. But yeah, I think he's got to make the team the way he's been playing lately, at least to start things out.
He's got to start. Yeah.
And I mean,
he's played 5 games?
No, it was 9. 8 or 9.
Okay.
Unless he does nothing in the preseason, and we just pretty much saw him play a preseason.
Right.
Yeah.
But he goes to the right places on the ice. You want to talk about a guy that knows what to do, and we haven't seen that really on the Canucks lately.
He's got instincts.
Plus, coming out of college, you're a little bit older.
Well, no, because he left after 2 years, so yeah, he's still a kid.
And
but he can see clearly now.
But he plays.
He doesn't have a bird cage on.
He plays ahead of his. plays ahead of his sort of age. Although he did give the puck away and it turned into a goal.
Yeah, that was great though. That was the best pass all year.
Yeah, right in the slot.
Lottery pick.
He knows what the fans want. But yeah, no, I could see him getting even 20, 25.
My money's on 25, and if things go well,
that's a lot of goals.
I know it's a lot of goals.
I know it's only 5 goals, but 20 just seems much more attainable.
If he had 4 and 9, was it? I think.
And if he gets,
but it's garbage time. It's look who he scored those goals against and when.
You can get some of those early in the season though. Like he goes to the right place and he gets some power play time. I could see him get, at least 20.
Late.
Yeah,
it was a bit of a chiseler situation.
We'll talk about. I want to talk about that on
That's
the 5
minutes for paying.
Yeah, 5 minutes. Okay, the other question, Gita, how many goals do you think Besser will score?
25.
25.
Yeah.
Larry Guy Giles. I hope that's pronounced
Joey Jojo Shabadoo.
Oh, did you see on Twitter? I think it was Jimmy John or something. Oh, drafted by the
Joe John.
Yeah, Medicine Hat Tigers. Yeah. Oh, that was fantastic.
The Buffalo Sabres once drafted a fictional player. Look that up on the internet, kids. They drafted a fake Japanese player that didn't exist in the 1970s.
But why?
Just read the article. It's a very good read. It's really fun.
I've heard a long-standing rumor that the Canucks only drafted Yannick Hansen in the 9th round because they felt sad because he actually went to the draft. And that's the urban legend.
Where did you hear that from?
Just through passing. I've heard it a couple times.
There you go, kids. We can all make the NHL that way.
Yeah, just show up at the draft. Dave's like, wait a minute.
90% of he'll show up at the expansion draft.
It's at Chicago. Draft is in Chicago.
I'm going to Vegas. I want to be a Golden Knight.
He asked, who isn't going to be a Canuck next year? Who do they get rid of?
Shaboo.
You see anybody getting dealt or anybody not being re-signed?
They keep saying they're going to move a defenseman for a forward, although it's kind of funny because not that they have necessarily quality forwards, but they've got a bit of a glut of guys that are like bottom 6 guys you could put in a bottom 6 that wouldn't be terrible.
I've got a surprising one that might ruffle some feathers.
Who?
Ben Hutton.
What?
That's the name that keeps coming up.
Is it
marketable.
He can't fight?
That was good on.
He's adorable.
Good on
That's
him for
why.
trying.
Yeah.
He's marketable, meaning other teams want him.
Yeah.
Kind of a down year, and we have 2 other players in the organization that kind of do the same thing.
Who?
Stetcher, same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we could give Subban a shot.
I don't think anybody wants Jordan Subban.
I think the Canucks do.
I've heard that they were trying to shop him all year round.
Yeah. Would you take Subban over Hutton?
I wouldn't necessarily take Subban over Hutton, but I would
Then
take a top 6 forward prospect for
enough.
Hutton and plug Subban in.
Yeah.
Well, you don't necessarily need to if you don't have as many injuries as you had this year.
And that's also true. The depth on the defense is quite good. Plus, we don't know how many pounds Ole Ulevi's going to weigh when he gets into camp. He might be ready next year.
That's the other thing. Ulevi might be the type of guy they see as just like Ben Hutton because he's not as small as Stetcher and Subban.
He's rangy.
Probably built about the same size, similar type of game, but probably will be better than Ben Hutton.
Ulevi makes Hutton expendable, and teams want Ben Hutton, and teams overpay for defense all the time. I'm predicting that Ben Hutton will get traded before the draft.
Could we see Alex Edler getting moved, though?
We've been trying to do that for years. I've had that 96 Toyota Camry on Craigslist for a long time.
Some interest every now and then.
Some GM comes over and kicks the tires.
If you're in a sort of state of change, as the Canucks have opened up now with a coaching change, you might be willing to give up Edler for a lot less than maybe what they were hoping for in the past.
He's got a no trade, and he likes it here, and he doesn't care if we
like
him being here or not.
Does he like being here?
He likes the city. That's about it.
I see that big Swede lummox everywhere, too. I see Alex Edler all over
I
town
don't know.
all the time.
He's
a man about town, Paul.
I did run into Derek Dorsett today, and he did not have a neck brace on just out on the street. He was carrying one of his kids, and I felt
he
really
got the
good.
Insurance check. He's good.
Good. Felt good to see him.
All right.
He's helping guys
around
move, getting busted by
with
ICBC.
a kid over his shoulder.
All right, we'll wrap it up this week's podcast, and we'll go into 5 minutes for paying.
Okay.
If you want to make sure, that being said, so that'll wrap it up for this week's show. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at PucksNetCR, PucksNetCa. And I was on Roundhouse Radio today talking about Willie D getting fired. Go listen to that. I had some fun doing that. Gave them some pucks. That worked out well. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes, rate and review on iTunes, and leave a comment. That's the best way to support the show. But if you really want to support the show, head on over to patreon.com/pucksonnet.
Preferably give it a good rating because Ryan gets really upset if you give it a bad rating.
I pout.
And then he takes it out on us.
We hear about it.
He beats me, I thought it would be worth mentioning we lost a Vancouver radio broadcasting legend fairly recently, I think since we did the last show.
Yeah.
A guy who took controversial stances on a lot of issues when it came to Vancouver sports teams.
Yep.
But off the air, nothing but class. I've met this guy a couple of times, and a lot of people that we went to school with who had a chance to work with him have nothing but wonderful things to say about him. Just Neil McRae.
I worked with him when I was in high school as an intern at CKNW.
I bet he treated you really well.
He didn't treat me badly.
And that's about as good as it gets for a radio personality.
But most of us listen to that 8:15
good job on the eulogy
on
there,
CKNW.
If you not have just said yes.
You know what? He gave off such a prickly personality, and that was his shtick, but he was not like a bad... All I'm saying is, like, he wasn't like Santa Claus, but he was like a normal dude. He was a...
It just gets worse.
I'm not editing that out.
No, start it.
All accounts, I mean, if you listen to Stu or Josh, who worked with the Giants, they worked with him at NW, and just, a class guy.
I enjoyed my time working with him.
And a legendary talent. Agree with him or don't.
Yeah.
Hate him or love him. We were all listening.
Yes.
We were
There
all
you
listening.
go.
So, Neil, we're going to follow in your footsteps. I'm going to stay salty for you, bud. Keep your stick on the ice in heaven.
That's beautiful. All right, now here comes 5 minutes for paying.
Back move, you know.